start the recording. Okay, the recording is up, and now we are together. Matt, welcome. This is Tim, your brother. We're here for the Coaches Show at Tackle Trading, as well as our Trading Justice podcast. And how are you doing tonight?
You know, I'm doing absolutely fantastic tonight. It's a good night, good day. I've enjoyed the trading day today, even though it's a little batshit nuts and crazy and psychotic. But outside of that, it's a fantastic day today.
Well, I had a great day. You know, we did our Coaches Show earlier, and then you and I got a text from Noah, and I'll read the text. I don't know if I can read it on air.
You can't read the one test. And see, I think your audio is coming in low, mine's coming in hot.
Not working? You want to pause this?
There, let's try that. I think that should be okay.
Yeah, I think we'll just keep the recording going. I don't know how to pause the one inside Citrix and GoToMeeting.
Hear this. That we were technological geniuses. We just said we knew how to trade.
Yeah, we're trying to work this technology stuff out, and we're getting better at it, and I think we'll get all the kinks worked out.
I think you had a fantastic idea the other day when you were talking about going out there and hiring a producer for our podcast. And because we're pretty much idiots when it comes to technology, we grew up swinging hammers. When our dad, our father, opening an iPad, he would probably start hitting it with a hammer instead of pushing the button.
That's right.
So, you know, it is what it is. We're not good at everything. That's why you got to surround yourself with a team. So if anybody out there in trading justice land or tackle trading land knows a good producer, hit us up there at Tackle Trading. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, and we'd always love to network with the people who are part of the team first. So if any of you guys are good at producing audio and video and you could help us get organized on a few things, we'd definitely love to talk to you. Let's talk about the market for a little bit, Matt. What is going on with this market? Kind of a flat day today. The Dow ended up literally 0.01% up, and the NASDAQ 8 points up, the S&P 1 point up. Another flat day. What happened?
Well, before we get into that, I just figured out your audio. Oh, I'm going to have fun tonight. Yeah, today, nothing happened today. I mean, as expected. I mean, we were coming into this week, and, you know, looking at kind of the data that was out there this week. I did the Forex report today, and honestly, Tim, I mean, you're looking at Japan, Australia, the Eurozone, Great Britain, here in the U.S., we didn't have any economic reports today. I mean, we didn't have anything out there that was going to drive the market one way or the other. And even yesterday, when you kind of faded up, it was done on very light volume. Today was extremely light volume. I mean, we're talking a third of the average volume today out there in the marketplace. But I think that was expected, to be perfectly honest. You know, on every Sunday night, one of the things I like to do is prepare for the week. Look at, and I wrote a newsletter on this about 3 weeks ago. And basically what I want to look at is I want to look at the economic reports out there. I want to look at the earnings reports out there. I want to look at, you know, the different things out there that might drive the market. And honestly, I mean, you're looking at Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week. We don't have anything out there that's driving the marketplace. And so as expected, you know, the market didn't do much today. And so I don't think it was anything of a surprise. If the market would have done something today, I would have been surprised.
Yeah, you know, not even economic data scheduled for tomorrow of any consequence. You do have every Wednesday you have crude oil inventories which can affect that specific industry and market, but not until Thursday. Unemployment claims, that's a weekly event. I actually don't even think it should be a red impact event anymore. It doesn't really.
It shouldn't.
Yeah.
It's every single week out there in the market. We get it. No weekly report should be a major report. None.
Core retail sales, I actually think that could have an impact, so Friday might be a triggering day in terms of economics. I've been talking about this quite a bit lately. We're moving outside of earnings season. We're moving outside of key economic data, and the next time the Fed meets is not until December. November really should lighten up. I mean, and we've seen that. We've seen November lighten up. And so how do you trade in an environment like this?
You sell options.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, you sell options. I got into 4 trades yesterday, a couple bull puts, a couple bear calls. I think naked puts are still strong right now. And once we do expect some data, here's the thing about when you're dealing with low volatility right now. Even though options are cheap, you're still getting a pretty decent ROI out there for options. But when we do expect the market to start picking up volatility, when we do expect those economic reports to start coming back out, options are going to be real cheap, and we can take some pretty cheap, I don't want to say bets because that's a horrible word, but we can take some pretty cheap shots at the market when we do expect the market to go back up, or up or down, depending on volatility.
And it brings me into something that we were talking about today in the coaches show, and hopefully Noah can get that video rendered. If not, that's why we're doing this bonus video for the coaches show, because we're never going to leave our team hanging. That's number one. That's part of our what do they call it, a mission statement. I mean, we decided from day one the reason we want to take on this project and build a team of traders is so that we're all here to help each other. And the coaches are accountable to that. I want the people to be accountable to that. I want to fill you in on a couple of things.
No, it's absolutely true, I know tonight you got done mentoring today. You did the coaches show today. You're probably a little tired of, everything you've been doing today. I had a training today, and I'm leaving to Denver tomorrow. A nice group there in Denver. But at the same time, guys, the thing that we love about our team over there at Tackle Trading is we set the standard, and that standard is to always come through for our team members, and so that's what we do.
Well, and I'll tell you, I'll give you a heads up on what we did today in the coaches show. We spent a lot of time talking about covered calls and basics and getting back to basics and that kind of thing. And one of the challenges I gave the people who attended, and I think there's about 15 people there, one of the challenges I gave them is if they would post in the clubhouse and participate. And by the way, guys, to post in the clubhouse, you got to get logged into Tackle Trading. You come over here to Clubhouse, and then you right here where it says, "What's new, Tim?" That's because I'm logged in. I can put whatever I want in here, including pictures and video and attachments and all that kind of thing. But the challenge I gave the team, Matt, was if they'll post in the clubhouse, and if the majority of them would go in there and do something, I'd give them just an outline of the covered call strategy we went over. And let me show you.
Yeah, I saw the email you sent out to the Tackle Trading Pro members in terms of outlining that covered call strategy that you guys were outlining in the coaches show today. And it seemed like a pretty good little step-by-step. Step one, you do this. Step two, you do this. Step three, you do this. And that's what people need. People need a step-by-step approach to doing even some of the basic strategies.
Yeah, and I want to give props to Harvey, Rahman, those who did take the challenge, Remus. Rahman has been real active. Love that, Rahman. Keep that up. Paul.
Yeah, I like what he's doing out there. Paul's doing awesome stuff out there.
Ken, Greg, Gerald, Chris just got his avatar going. Kitna. Yeah, we had a lot of response in there.
Picture up there.
Yeah.
Kitna, get a picture up there. I'm mentoring you starting next week. Come on, Kitna. Get the picture up.
We like seeing your picture.
I'm a terrible mentor. I can't even get her to post a picture. Of course, we're just starting.
You haven't made fun of my picture yet.
It's too easy. I think everybody's making fun of it. I don't have to make fun of it. Everybody else does.
Yeah, you remember The Office back on Main Street in Huntington we grew up? Dad had that one wall with the fake picture on it.
Oh, yeah.
That looks like the backdrop of this. I swear this...
When I saw that picture on from your wife, I was like, did you guys, was that green screen? I mean, what'd you guys do? You'll like this. I'm getting family pictures at the end of November here, and my wife sends me this picture of this sweater vest she wanted me to wear. And I just texted her back and I said, are you trying to get everybody to make fun of me? Come on now.
Oh, I think that's just
like you're happy though. That's good. You look happy.
Hey, what's wrong with it? If I'm happy, I'm happy. So I want to go over some of these guidelines I gave these guys because really, Matt, I went through tonight and I just put that email together. I put in as many thoughts as I could come up with in there, and maybe you can add to or we can clarify a few of the things I was telling them about that email. Let me see if I can find it. I sent it a couple of different places. Actually, I have it in Word document. I know where I can get it. Covered call strategy outline. So the first thing I said is that the covered call is a combo strategy where a trader uses stock and options to create a position. Pretty straightforward. Let's get down to the rules where you might be able to add some commentary. I say you buy the stock, you sell the call. Now, the first step I told them is when choosing a stock that you want to have, you have to come up with a plan on whether it's a one-off trade, I use that phrase quite a bit in there, or a long-term investment. Why do you think that is with covered calls? Why do you have to make that designation?
Let's talk about the differences in the two. If it's a one-off trade, we're talking about just you're literally just buying the stock to sell the call, and you're just trying to take advantage of short-term movements. You're trying to just capture a quick premium, and looking at some of these one-off type scenarios, you're looking at a little more volatile stocks. You're looking at stocks that have a higher premium. You're looking at, you don't care about dividends. You're looking for stocks that have a high beta. And what a high beta is stocks that basically are trading faster than what the market does. And so you're looking for stocks that trade +1 betas, short-term positions. Charting is really key on this. You're looking for specific patterns such as retracements and breakouts. You might be selling weeklies or something along those lines. But it's a shorter term type scenario here. On the longer term type investment, you're looking at something with, like for example, I was looking at a cover call just the other day, and basically I was looking for stocks that are in, basically uptrends, stocks that we want to invest in, meaning low PE ratio, stocks that are under, say, a 25 PE ratio, that still shows that it still has a lot of room to grow, good earnings, but a lot of room to grow. Stable companies that are not prone to dramatic shifts in volatility, and stocks that either trade at the market volatility, meaning 1 beta, and maybe even slightly under 1 beta, but you're also looking for stocks that are going to pay you a dividend as well. Stocks like AT&T, for example, we talked about that last podcast. But so it's a very similar trade. You're buying the stock, you're selling a call option. But in terms of your overall outlook, your overall perspective, they're vastly different trades. They're different types of stocks that you're looking at.
Yeah, I think, and I took some highlights down as you were talking there. I agree with most of, if not all of it. On the one-off covered call, it really is just a trade. It's a theta cash flow trade that we've all made, we all think about, we all know how to make. A stock where you do an investment, don't show me that message again. Stock where you do an investment, we're looking for stability. An uptrend, you did say an uptrend is mandatory. I don't agree with that. I think an uptrend is nice. You just have to believe.
You can do neutral.
Yeah.
You can do neutral.
It just has to not crash and burn, right? And
you cannot have a tremendous downtrend, no.
Well, let's debate that for a minute, and I'll give you an example of one, and I'm going to show you one of the biggest stocks in the world, ConocoPhillips. Would it be the worst idea in the world to get into energy in a stable company like Conoco that pays a consistent dividend when it's at a short-term, intermediate-term low, but still probably a good value long-term?
Well, number one, I'm glad you switched it to a weekly chart there, because if you're going to do something long-term, you want to be looking at longer-term charts. You don't want to be looking at the volatility of a day chart. In looking at Conoco here, it's had tremendous downward movements, but you're coming into some very strong support levels right around $65 and $70. So I honestly, you're going to have, in every stock known to man, you're going to have short-term downtrends, and that's what ConocoPhillips is doing, and that's what a lot of those energy stocks is doing, like Conoco. They're in short-term downtrends, but if you pull it up on the weekly chart, those weekly charts are still in some degree of bullish uptrends. And so in looking at Conoco, yeah, the daily chart might show you one thing, the weekly chart shows you a completely different view of it, and I don't have a problem with it. A lot of technicians, they would actually say this is a time to invest in Conoco, to do something like a covered call and take advantage of that buying at a cheaper price. So no, I think that's Warren Buffett who said that. Warren Buffett said it. You know what? When everything's going down, you want to buy, and that's the thing about short-term downtrends. Wait for those downtrends to come into a conclusion, and then you might want to invest in that. That doesn't mean that the short-term swing trader can't short Conoco. The short-term swing trader should, can and probably should still be shorting energy and whatnot. But when you're looking at a longer-term scenario, Conoco's coming into a pretty good support level right now.
I'm such a Twitter plug whore lately that, and yes, I did say that I I can't help but just Twitter, Matt. I don't know what it is. I just love Twittering. Just Twitter, 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 Twitter,
You
Twitter.
know, honestly, I put something out to our Guru group and on the Clubhouse the other day, basically just telling people, hey, listen, my challenge of this week, guys, is to go out there and get on Twitter. Twitter, for a lot of people, people make fun of Twitter to a certain extent, and I was one of those. But I'm going to tell you right now, I think it's a fantastic way to communicate. I think it's a fantastic way to get news. I think it's a fantastic way to become aware of some of the things that are going on out there. And in this environment, when you deal with so much movements in the market, a lot of times the news that comes out on Twitter faster than it comes out in the news cycle. In fact, Tim, during the recent Fed minutes, not Fed minutes, but Fed announcement, I was looking at both the News Wire and I was looking at Twitter. Guess which one I saw the news first on, Twitter or the AP Wire?
Had to be Twitter.
Twitter.
Almost a guarantee it was Twitter. And I still don't know how to filter for that kind of thing, because I think you can create lists. Like if you want all your financial stuff in one list, you can get that as a feed, right? See, I'm so new at it. I'm still trying to figure it all out. But
Well, the thing I like about it, Tim, is you can follow the people you want to follow. You can block the people you want to block, but you only have to get the news that you want to get.
yeah,
I see you're following like Hero Hedge there, and you follow
but then
Adam Carolla.
right?
I see that.
Yeah, and God, the tweet of God. I always follow God.
You like God?
Yeah.
The tweet of God? I like that. The minor crisis you're currently having is the worst thing that's ever happened to you.
He's a little sarcastic.
I would say that's a little sarcastic right there. I don't know if that's exactly what God would say. Do you think God is actually banning that tweet?
I do believe, Matt. You have to have faith. You know what they say.
No. And since we don't know who's manning that Twitter feed, maybe it is the Almighty himself.
That's
or
right.
herself. We don't know that. Is that blasphemy to say it might be a girl?
I think so. I'm not sure.
Am I going to have somebody defollow me on Twitter for stating that?
Probably. I mean, anytime you bring up politics and religion, you run the risk of having somebody not want to be a part of your situation. But I don't think we care.
People can't enjoy life. Who cares? I mean, people, more people, and this is my honest to God truth, more people should talk about politics. More people should talk about religion. Stop acting so crazy that your opinion is the only one that matters. It's a big, big world with a lot of opinions out there. Be accepting of other people's beliefs. It's perfectly fine.
Well, and here, honestly, I mean, it goes back to John Stuart Mill, and I don't want to get all political philosopher on you, but, truth will bear itself out.
Well, if you're going to go political philosophy, I'm going to go like economic philosophy, so that's okay.
Well, what I'm saying is that, put your opinions out there. They'll stand the test of public opinion. You'll get feedback. If you're not proud enough of what you're thinking to put it out in the universe, maybe you should change the way you think. That.
Well, I said this today, Tim. I said, if you want society to change, you first have to be the change in society that you want. Okay, and if you want people to be accepting, you have to be accepting. If you want people to listen, you have to listen. If you want people to participate more in politics and art and the discussion, then you have to do those things. And so I got on and I was teaching a great group of international students today, and basically I was going through this entire economic philosophy. And when you go through economic philosophy, Tim, how can you talk about economics without talking about politics? That's impossible to talk about economic philosophy without talking about politics.
Well, they're so tied together, and they're honestly, even history and all of it. I mean, you have to take the entire human experience if you're going to understand human nature. And human nature is at the core of what drives greed and fear and stock market prices and investment and all of it, even our own emotions.
Well,
I'm with you.
Let's just talk about the stock market for a second.
Yeah.
How can you truly talk about the stock market without talking about politics or economics?
You can't.
Yeah, I mean, they're all tied to one another. And so when people say, oh, you can't talk about that, it's like, really? I remember, and they probably won't listen to this, so I'll just say it. I know that a few people have told us in our presentations that we should limit the political discussions. And both of us are like, really? Are you kidding me? You want us to not talk about the markets? You know, people don't want to talk about the markets because it's emotional
Well,
and it's opinion based.
I will
You
say
know,
this
so
though.
what? Who cares?
I will say this though. When I did get that feedback from somebody who also does presentations, that I did try to take it in and I try to think about it because you don't want to divide a room. You don't want to have your opinions be so confrontational that it makes people not hear the
I
rest of your
agree with
message.
that, but you also have to make people feel uncomfortable. Okay, and what I mean by that is people get so, and I'm talking about consumers in society. Consumers in society get so just pent up in their own little box of truth. And that own little box of truth has led them to go into massive amounts of debt, not save any money, and not prepare for retirement.
Hmm.
And so you got to get people to think outside that box. And sometimes when you force somebody to think outside the box, it's uncomfortable. It is. But sometimes, you know, some of if I look at my own personal growth, some of the times I look back at that, and it's when I was put in a position where I had to question the things that I believed in. When I look at my own personal growth, sometimes, you know, it was put in that capacity where it was like, okay, Matt, I want you to prove this out. If you're going to say this, prove this out. If you're going to believe in this economic principle, you can't just say it. You got to prove it out. You know, and sometimes it questions your core belief system.
Hmm. Well, and I hope that I'm the type of person that I'm not just listening to the people that I agree with. You know, I know that I'm not. I believe I'm not. And I hope that other people are willing to share their opinions with me because, you know, guys,
Well, all I'm going to say is this, Tim. If you and I ever get to the point where where a majority of the entire society, where we agree with society, I think we're doing something wrong.
probably, yeah. Oh,
It's all,
yeah, I'm team people
they're
though,
not
so
lemmings,
I don't know.
brother.
Yeah, I agree. I understand that. And which brings us into a conversation I'll have with you just a minute. I want to table that for just a second. I want to focus on a couple of things that we were doing here in the video blog. I wanted to pick your brain on a few things. You had a good Forex report. You know, describe the video for just a quick 30-second. Give us an
Well,
overview.
every week I do the Forex report, and I do it on either Monday or Tuesday when I have some time to really kind of sit down and do a video. And basically what I try to do is give people an opportunity, not only the Forex traders out there, but people who want to become aware of what's going on in the currency markets. And so basically what I was looking at today is I was looking at a couple different things. Number one, I was looking at kind of what's happening with the dollar, and the dollar is still very, very strong against a lot of the other currencies out there. But I basically was assessing this. I said, okay, it's this week where we want to kind of take off the reins. We want to kind of pull back a little bit. We don't want to get ambitious out there buying the dollar because there's a little bit of profit taking. There's not a lot of economic news out there. And so it's like, let's pull back the reins a little bit on the aggressive currency trades. I also looked at kind of news-based trades out there in the marketplace this week. And surprisingly, you know, we were talking about the initial claims report, which is the unemployment claims on Thursday. Last week, that was the biggest trade last week.
Mm.
Is last Thursday that report came out, and literally the euro dollar moved 100 pips within 15 minutes of that report. And so because of that, I'll probably be trading a news-based trade on it. So I kind of showed people how to trade that news-based trade. I talked about the economic reports, not only here in the U.S., but outside. Great Britain has an inflationary report coming out tomorrow, actually very, very early to midnight in terms of our time frame. But so basically I just talked about it, the dollar against every other currency out there. I am bullish dollar, but we are starting to see a little bit of slowing momentum in the dollar right now. You're seeing it in the euro. You are not seeing it in the yen. The yen is still ridiculously weak right now.
Mhm.
And so basically out of all the currencies out there, I basically stated I'm looking to buy the dollar here, but I'm looking for a little bit of a buy the dip type mentality on the dollar. On the yen, I'm going to tell you right now, on the yen, I'm going to short the yen as much as I can for the next year. And honestly, Tim, I think the Japanese are trying to kill their currency. The things that they are doing right now is just so utterly dangerous in terms of economic and monetary policy. You're talking, I mean, just today, I was looking out there, and the guy, his name's Abe. It's called Abenomics, and they're disavowing Parliament over there. It's just getting crazy, and the algorithms out there are just nuts right now. So I've been short yen, long dollar for a long time now, and I'll continue to be that until I see the Japanese do something different. But I just don't think it's going to happen. I think the Japanese are trying to kill their currency, and they're going to print as much Japanese yen as possible. And a lot of people, myself included, think it's to pay off the debt, to devalue the currency, pay off the debt a little easier. It caused a little bit of hyperinflation over there. Well, not hyperinflation; it's actually devalued pretty bad, but very, very aggressively short yen right now. Outside of that one, I'm seeing slowing momentum in the franc. I'm seeing slowing momentum in the Canadian dollar. I'm seeing slowing momentum in the euro. I'm seeing slowing momentum in the Australian dollar and the New Zealand dollar out there as well. And so it's a little bit of a wait-and-see approach right now. I don't see a lot of economic reports out there that's going to drive the currency market that radical this week. And so this week it's kind of just a wait. Let's kind of have some perspective. Let's wait. And then next week I think we're going to see a little bit of a pickup in the movement in the currencies market.
Well, let's talk. I mean, I've been sitting here in my chair, and you know how I like to stand when I work. You talking currencies got me out of my chair, so that'll tell you.
It does. I'll tell you that one of the biggest problems with the banks right now is the fact that the carry trade is not producing them results right now.
I was just going to bring
That's
that up.
The biggest problem in the currency market.
How much of what we're seeing is carry trade capitulation? Say that 3 times fast.
Carry trade, nope, couldn't do it once. Honestly, it's quite a bit. I mean, people right now, they've been short dollar for a long time, the banks have. Mm-hmm. And the reason they've been short, we're talking not 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, we're talking 15 years. Yeah. They've been short U.S. dollar. And when you sell the dollar, typically the dollar has a lesser interest rate associated to it than other currencies out there. It's called the swap rate. And so when you sell the dollar and you buy other currencies, you're going to make money not only the direction of the devaluation of the U.S. dollar, but you're also going to get paid an interest rate on it on every single day. And so one of the most popular trades in the world is the carry trade by selling the dollar and buying the other currencies. Well, right now, every other currency in the world is going down against the dollar, which means those banks are just getting slaughtered right now in terms of all their carry trades. And so they've been having to adjust their books by getting out of their short dollars, and now they're buying dollars, which is driving the prices back up. I do see that changing long term, but short term I don't. I think, and there's still a couple carry trades out there that are pretty good. You can sell the dollar by Mexican peso. That's a pretty good one right now. You can sell the dollar and still buy Japanese yen. That's a good one out there, and that's something we want to do. So if you sold the dollar and you bought the yen, you would still get a little bit of an interest rate, not a big one, but a little bit. And also, if you sold the yen and bought the Australian dollar, you don't have to just do it with the actual U.S. dollar. Because every currency has that swap rate associated to it. So if we sold the yen, bought the Australian dollar, we're going to make money as the Australian dollar goes up again. Swap on those two currencies, and we're going to get paid about, honestly, if you look at that trade over a year's time frame, if you put $10,000 into that trade, you can pretty much pocket an additional $11,000 just on the carrying of the positive interest rate.
These are little things that investors can do and this is one of the things that has impressed me the most the last few years from people. These are little things that investors can do to mimic banking behavior. I say this all the time. You go to any major city, you look at the biggest buildings in the city, they're banks. Salt Lake City is no exception. I go downtown Salt Lake City, there's the Wells Fargo building, the Goldman Sachs building. There's Chase Bank. There's banks, and government buildings. I'll add those in there as well. But act like a bank. You know what banks do? They carry positive interest rates.
Always.
That's what they do.
Always.
They use leverage. That's always what the fractional banking system is. And they generate cash flow.
Well, Tim, who's the only market participant that doesn't use leverage? Who's the only market participant that doesn't use positive debt transactions? It's consumers. It's that mindset of consumers, and it's because they use debt to buy the goods that they don't need, and then they go into negative debt scenarios, and it impacts their bottom line, and they think all debt is bad debt. Yep. That's not a true statement. It's just because consumers use debt in a negative way, that's negative debt. But for us, if we use debt in terms of margin, or if we use debt for investment purposes and it produces a positive cash flow, that's actually a positive debt transaction. So it's just a way of changing your mindset towards debt and changing your spending and your debt habits.
Yeah, I agree. You guys are listening to the Coaches Show, the bonus edition here on 11th November 2014. Matt and I are here. We're also on the Trading Justice podcast. Matt, we're going to keep this one short and sweet, just to kind of get some information out there, talk about some of these things. What message do you want to give the team for the week?
Honestly, I think this week's going to be a real boring week. So, outside, I think it's going to pick up on Friday. I think with the consumer confidence report, the retail sales report, I think it's going to be a real boring week in the market as well. So I don't think there's a lot of trades to get into if you're talking about directional trades. But I think this is also a week where you can start practicing some of those theta trades. Some of the naked puts out there, some of the covered calls out there. Look to, and honestly, Tim, I think everybody should practice a new strategy every single week. Even if you don't know what it is, go out there, practice it. Ask one of the coaches, explain what a bull put spread is, explain what a bear call spread is, explain what a naked put is. Any one of the coaches will be more than willing to record a video, will be more than willing to talk about it on the podcast, will be more than willing to talk about it on the Coaches Show to help people out to get out there and apply things. And so, honestly, I think it's going to be a boring week in the market. I think it's going to be a boring week in the currency market. And so this is the type of market where you just want to capture theta and just positive theta every single day.
Well, and I'll tell you, I think that's an important thing you just said. Guys, communicate with us. So this will be the last message I'll give you, my last thought. Communicate with us. I had a couple of requests the last few days. I had somebody ask me, well, what's in your pro member features? So I did a video on it, okay? And then somebody today said, well, can you explain the toss risk graph a little bit better? So I did a video on it. People who show up and participate to be a part of this team, you're going to get the most help. Simply put, it's not because we don't like the other people. It's because it's the way life is. You put the work in, you put the request in. We know that you're working on it. We're going to want to help you more. Yeah. That's what it is.
That's so true, Jim. I mean, people who go out there, put the work in, we're going to match that. If you're not willing to put the work in, we're not going to do anything for you. We're going to do what we always do. Just to explain that, I had a new student. His name's John. John just basically started moving forward just this past 3 days ago. And in the last 3 days, he sent me a few different emails. But he's also getting out there and he said, okay, I'm a little confused by Thinkorswim. Can you explain this? I'm a little confused by the ticker symbols in Mock Trader versus the ticker symbols in Thinkorswim. What can you explain that? But and it was very easy. I just here's this. I just responded to him. But what that tells me about John is John's going out there every day. John's doing what he should be doing. John's going out there and he's watching the videos. John's going out there, he's doing his daily routine. John's going out there and he's asking for help. And you know what I'm going to do for John? Anything I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love people who just act. It says sit back, complacent, just letting it come to you.
Yep, absolutely. That's why we're coaching, my friend. That's why we're here. So, John, if you're listening to this video, if you're a pro member at some point, keep it up. If not, we'll see you down the road. Everybody else out there at Tackle Trading, thank you for attending the Coaches Show. We're going to have 2 Coaches Shows next week. We're going to have our live weekly Coaches Show on Tuesday at 3 p.m.
The expiration.
And then we get the expiration party on Thursday. We'll be sending more information out there on the site. If you have any requests for us on the site, let us know.
So while Tim's audio is cutting in and out, what he said was we're going to have 2 Coaches Shows next week. We're going to have a Coaches Show on Tuesday of next week. That's our normal weekly one. And then once a month during right before Expiration Friday, we also do a coach's expiration party, and that's on Thursday night of next week. And that's basically a time where we can really kind of talk about theta trades and what is expiration and the options market in general. Tim, do you have today, the last couple of days, celebrating the veterans out there? I think we should end the podcast. And for those of you who have served, my heart goes out to you guys. I am absolutely as thankful as humanly possible that you put in the service that allows us to appreciate the freedoms that we have. I saw a post on Facebook that basically said, "Thank you everybody for your blood, sweat, and tears for the tree of freedom that we live under." And you know what? Service is such an amazing thing, and I'm just so thankful for the service people out there. So appreciate that. Enjoy the day. But what's a good song to end for? Great song.
Can't do better than Lee Greenwood, "I'm Proud to Be an American." And while you pull that up and find it, I took one of my friends who served in combat, and he was in the USMC, and I took him out to dinner tonight just to tell him thanks. I haven't seen him in a little bit, and I do think it's important. Whatever little things we can do to help and remind them out there that we're appreciative of it. Because it's not easy being a soldier. I've had plenty of friends who come back from conflict, from combat, even those who served in non-combat. I mean, that's a big commitment. It's a huge commitment, and
it's a huge commitment. It's special. It's amazing, and we're just absolutely thankful. So we're gonna end today's podcast. I know it's a shorter podcast than we typically do, but we're gonna end it on the armed service medley, Tim. So sit back and enjoy. Tim Justice, Matt Justice for Tackle Trading and the Trading Justice podcast. Check us out on iTunes. Leave us a review if you love the podcast. Go out there, check us out at www.tackletrading.com, and we'll be back with you with another podcast later on this week. If you have any requests for topics discussed on the podcast, questions for the podcast, go and hit us up on Twitter at Tim Justice Utah or at Matt Justice 13, and we will do our best to answer those on the podcast for this coming week. So until next time, Tim, enjoy the song.
Peace.